welcome back to another incredible episode of How the Hell Did You Get Here? With your host, Joe Soja. That is me, Joe Soja. Anyway, I am so excited to be back. I know it's been a while since I have posted anything as far as a podcast. It's been a hell of a year, guys. I'll tell you. You know, and what's awesome about life is that if you just keep going, you'll get there. And it's incredible to me. I put my head down and I kept pushing through all the pain. Let me tell you. So this year, let me see. I had an insurance claim on my car. That wasn't that bad, actually, and I enjoyed it. You know, I mean, I got to get to know these people at this car repair shop. I forget the name of it, and they don't pay me enough to actually, advertise for them, so I can't really say anything. And then in May, we discovered a leak that was in our kitchen, in the wall of our kitchen, right? So we were like, okay, yeah, we can get this fixed. It was behind the cabinets and all that stuff. I didn't want to pay anything, so what did I do? I did the American Home Shield, the warranty for the pipes, and then for the damages, I did an insurance claim, and everything worked out except for the fact that we didn't have a kitchen for 4 months. Holy cow! I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of making my own meals. I like to be able to dump things in the sink on demand. Anyway, so, and then, and pray for my dad. He just got cancer, or was diagnosed with cancer in September. Luckily, they caught it in time. He actually went in for kidney stones. And so when they did an MRI or a CAT scan, they saw that he had these things. And so, we saw it, and they I think they caught it in time. There's this one spot that they're concerned with, but, keep them in your prayers. We definitely need them. And then, as far as me and my family, the immediate family, we're doing much better, but we did have some health issues in the middle of the year, and so therefore I was not able to do this podcast, of which I love to do because I love to inspire. I hope I inspire. I mean, positive impact, right? I might even change the name of this podcast to Positive Impact, which was the videos that I was doing on YouTube. Anyway, so talking about inspiration and how to get places and be positive and how to succeed in life. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Mr. Nathan Mohs back in June. We had an incredible talk. He's a fantastic guy. He's a teacher at my kid's school. Really nice guy, really athletic, and he was actually a professional basketball player. I got to sit down with a pro basketball player. That's amazing to me, I mean, no one's heard of him because it was all in Europe, but, you'll hear his story. But it's an incredible story. It's one where there are trials and tribulations, and he triumphs over it. So, that's all from me right now. I hope you enjoy this. I'm going to actually take a break from podcasting again for a little bit longer. I will proceed with season 2 maybe sometime next year. Anyway, thank you and enjoy Nathan Mohs. All right, everybody, I'm here with another successful person. This guy was a basketball superstar in Europe. He's incredible at the game, and he's got a beautiful family. We're friends with him. We're still trying to get pool going with him, but this is Nate Mohs. Nate, how you doing?
First of all, Joe, I appreciate the introduction. Basketball superstar might be going a little too far with it, but I appreciate the props.
All right. Well,
I'm doing well today. Thank you for having me on your show.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. Well, there's always room for improvement, right? So, maybe next round of what do you call that? The where they pick people
The draft?
The draft. Yes, the draft. Yeah, I couldn't think of it. You're up next on the draft.
I don't know if they want a 40-some-year-old guy.
40 something.
I don't want to put my actual age.
Yeah, we don't want that out there. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. So basically today we're just gonna tell people how you became a successful man, because in my eyes you are a successful man, and I'm sure to many of our listeners you will be seen as a successful man. So without further ado, please tell us about yourself. Tell us about your family life, your work life, spiritual life, whatever you want to talk about.
All right. So like you said, my name is Nate. I grew up in a small town. I was able to play basketball. Now I'm a teacher. Think we're done, Joe, right?
No.
Thank you.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Right. Wow. That was an incredible story. Incredible. But
I'm totally kidding. Yeah, so I grew up in a small town. My parents actually live in the same house that we grew up in, that myself and my brothers grew up in. Had a great childhood from what I can remember, because I'm old.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah, a great childhood. Played sports, was very athletic, or I like to think I was athletic. So
were you the best in your class at basketball? We're like, we want Nate. We want Nate on our team.
I don't think anybody ever said we want Nate on our team, but I think so. So how this quick announcement for those with kids, if your child is wanting to play sports, get them in all types of sports.
Yeah.
One kind of feeds into the other. So I'm a very big proponent of a variety of sports. And if you ever listen to Patrick Mohs,
great guy.
He's
next on the podcast.
I want to be here too. Let me ask him some questions. But get him in a bunch of sports. And Patrick Mahomes said he credits being a successful football player with he was able to play baseball, and he was successful at baseball, and he played basketball, and he was a successful basketball player. And all those skills can kind of translate from one sport to the next. So I don't think he focused on football until he was later in his high school years. So, wow. And that's what if you can play a bunch of different sports, play them. And I know it's kind of challenging with the year-round process of things, but hey, do as many as you can.
Yeah. Sounds like a busy life. Because I know that you got a young one. How old is he? 6? 6. Okay, and that's James, right? Can we say his name?
James is 6.
Very good. So I'm gonna guess that he does all types of sports. Is he in basketball already?
We did basketball in the winter.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. And then he does soccer, I'm guessing.
He's going to do soccer this fall. Yes.
Man, and then baseball. Tell me about baseball.
He did not do baseball. He didn't want to. He says he wants to do it next year. Okay. So we'll get him into some t-ball or whatever that is. Mm-hmm. I played baseball up until I was, 15 or 16 years old. So so I would love to have him do a whole bunch of different things. We're getting him to Trials MMA. A shout out to my buddy Ryan Schultz. If you're looking for another guy to get on your podcast, he's a successful business owner.
Ooh,
successful MMA, successful wrestler. He owns Trials MMA, East Mulberry, out by I-25. We're taking my kids.
We can't advertise him because he's not paying us. So exclude that from the thing. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Then I don't know if he's gonna want to be on the show.
I'm just kidding. No. He's great.
He'd be a good guy to get on the show.
Yeah.
But Ryan Schultz.
Yes. So
he is my third oldest friend from North Platte, Nebraska.
Oh, okay.
There are 2 people in life that I've met before Ryan Schultz.
I thought you were talking about he's like 85 or something like that.
No, he's my third oldest friend since that I've known. I think I met him. When I was 4 years old, I believe.
Wow.
I went to my babysitter was right next door to his house. So
Okay.
we grew up together, and he's a great guy, great with kids. And obviously had a successful wrestling career in college. And then went on to actually have a successful MMA career, a real MMA career.
Wow, like on TV and stuff like
on TV.
Woo, man.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of TV, were you ever on like TV for basketball and stuff like
In
that?
Europe.
Woo. Can we find that stuff on YouTube, you think?
No. This is like early 2000s.
Yeah,
This is
they got everything.
the internet was barely functional then.
Yeah. AOL kind of sucked.
No, I think I think what they did was they advertised, or they put on one game a week in the countries I played in. And,
nice.
So if our game was that game of the week, then they put it on for the country.
I see. Okay, well, very good. Yeah, no, and I love the fact that you talked about how to, when your kids want to, play sports, get them into everything, because it translates into everything. And outside of that, it probably helps them with schooling, and makes them have like a desire to achieve things. Am I right on that?
Yeah, they learn. I like to think they learn some confidence, and some discipline. And so, what you maybe can and can't do, and hopefully that carries over to, the classroom and everyday life.
Wow.
How to treat people, and how to be respectful.
Yeah. No, I agree. I love that. So yeah, I'll definitely be getting Joey into more than just soccer. I sucked at baseball. I was terrible at all sports. So it was a mess. Anyway, so how do you define success?
Oh, geez. I think success is in the eye of the beholder. I look back to what I did, and I wasn't successful at a lot in my life. In fact, my first, well, kind of playing out some background of me. Kind of took some sacrifice. My dad, before we go further, my dad has been my hero, my idol throughout my life.
Is he still around?
Yes, he is.
Oh, very good.
And so if I talk to him, or if I mention him, I put him on a pedestal. He's always been my hero, for how he's went about raising me and my family and my brothers and stuff. But about 15 or 16 years old, my dad was a PE teacher and a coach, and he coached every season. So he went from teaching to coaching, and he's not getting home till 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And about 15, 16 years old, I found out I was pretty good at basketball. So after school, after practice, whatever, I'd get home and I eat some food. Bless my mom. She made food most of the nights, and we were able to have food. And something I miss right now is Mom's home cooking.
Yeah,
food.
I agree. I agree.
It's always nice to come home and have a home cooked meal, which kind of never happens anymore. So it's hard. It's hard.
I mean, today, everyone has to work. Your wife is working. You're working. I mean, we got to pay for everything in this expensive society.
It's
oh
hard.
My gosh.
And so I'd come home from school, practice, whatever. And then my dad would get home, and I'd want to go to the gym, and he'd take me to the gym because he had the keys. So we got to go to the gym, and I gotta work out, or I got to go to the gym and do some running, do some basketball by myself. And so I'm a big proponent of, hard work and putting in the time, effort, and energy outside of the actual workday, to kind of get better. I wasn't blessed with being the 0.5% of athletes that are just naturally gifted and naturally blessed with unreal athletic ability. So I always had to put in hard work. And my dad always took me. He always took me to the gym, never said no. And so 9 o'clock at night, we'd be at the gym. And it wasn't for, we're not there till midnight. Just get another hour of work in, and it just what I can do, jump rope, get up a bunch of shots, do some running. To get in basketball involves a lot of running. So I got to do that on my own.
Very
And
good.
my dad got me into the gym. So I had some opportunities that probably not a lot of people had, to kind of become on a path to maybe being a little bit successful.
Yeah. I mean, that's incredible because you yourself are the PE teacher of the elementary school, right? And so you're following in his footsteps. Like, was he a basketball player too? Like, in Europe?
No. My dad's like 5'10" and my squatty guy. He was a rock. He was a linebacker.
Linebacker. Okay, yeah.
Linebacker and a catcher in baseball, but he liked to play basketball. So he actually played. He went to junior college for football and basketball. Played in junior college and then went to a 4-year school and played baseball and football.
Wow,
So,
for the college.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can play for a college, you're pretty darn good. I would think. You played in college. I'm guessing. What college did you go to?
University of Nebraska at Kearney.
Okay, very good. And did you have a good time?
Yes, it's fun.
Very good. And so, did you get recruited out of college to go to Europe, or did you go to Europe yourself?
So I actually signed on the down low. I signed with an agent. I didn't tell anybody because, if I failed, I didn't really want anybody to know. Oh, Nate, you failed. You suck.
Yeah.
So I signed with an agent. Didn't really tell anybody. Kind of kept it on the down low. I moved to Minneapolis. And kind of, my vision. I always try to vision how I want my life to play out or how I see things. And my vision was I'm going to go to this big city and I'm going to be there for a month. And then I'm going to sign my first contract in Europe and I'm going to live happily ever after.
Wow, that almost happened.
And I wish to say it happened, but that's not how, sometimes you got to switch up your vision. And I get to Minneapolis and, it's not how nothing happened how I expected it to happen. Mm-hmm. I go to the gym. I go to the gym and I'm used to going to a gym in these small towns and there's 5 or 10 people there. And I go to a gym and there's hundreds of people there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, geez, I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
So a month goes by, 2 months, 3 months, a year goes by and nothing's really happening. And then I'm like, oh God, I gotta maybe switch up some things because I need to find I don't even know what I was doing at the time, some odds and ends to try and make things work out financially, but holy cow, not how I anticipated. And and so my agent wasn't doing a whole lot. So I think I got rid of that guy. And I throughout this whole time, I was in contact with some teams in Europe. And I finally just said, hey, I'm going to pay my own way and I'm going to come. So pick me up at the airport. I said this in an email.
Yeah.
Hoping for the best.
Wow.
And, I didn't even know how much a ticket was. And I don't even know if I've flown before this. This is 20 years ago. So I got a ticket, went to Budapest, Hungary. Guy picked me up from the airport, dropped me off at a hotel in town. I don't even know the name of the town. And I crashed.
You crashed?
Crashed it, or I crashed when I got to the hotel.
Oh, I thought the car crashed. I'm like, holy shit, this took a turn.
Maybe that was the wrong choice of language. I got into the hotel and I just hit the bed and I was out. Jet lag, everything. It was a long trip. And I'm trying to piece some of these things together. And I think I got a knock on my door the next day. We went to practice. And I remember I could barely move. I could barely get up and down the court. I was out of it. Go back to the hotel, have some food, go to bed, wake up the next morning, same thing. I get a knock on my door, and I think they call them test games. We had a test game that day. And I'm like, I've been here like literally less than 48 hours,
Yeah.
and I've got to try to prepare for a game. I was mentally
Oh,
exhausted,
man.
and I I don't think I did a whole lot in that game. And I remember at some point, whether it was that after that game or the next day or the day after, I met with the management of that club team, and they basically said, we don't want you.
Wow.
We don't, you're not good enough.
Wow.
And this is what we want, and you're not there. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, so I wasn't expecting anything, but I guess I was expecting more time.
Yeah, yeah. So you were there for 3 days, and then they said, get out of here.
Roughly,
Wow.
that's kind of the sum of it. The
Yeah.
sum of it. Yeah, yeah.
So you took your life from Minneapolis, right? Were you in you were and you knew what you wanted to do, and you believed that you could do it, and so you just bought a ticket to Europe and went, right?
Bought a ticket and I went.
Wow. That is incredible, and because so many people are afraid to take that step, the next step in the process of doing what you want to do, right? And it's the fear of the unknown, right? I mean, going to an entire different continent, you don't know what's going to happen. You know that you have the skills to do what you want to do, and so you're just trying to find where to present those skills. And so I just want to commend you for, geez, just taking a leap of faith. Are you a faithful man?
I try to be. And don't get me wrong, Joe, like I was scared out of my mind. Like, you know, you're a 23, 24-year-old kid leaving everything he knew with a backpack and a suitcase.
Yeah.
And
everything you owned.
Everything I owned, and put a little faith in humanity that our emails that somebody was going to be at the airport to pick me up. You know,
you had no idea that someone was going to be there.
I did not.
That is incredible.
I did not. I was hoping, and we had the communication that said everything was going to everything. Yes, I'll be there. We'll get you to where you need to be. I had faith in that, but until I actually got there, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I got there and I saw the guy who's holding a piece of paper with my name. It said Mohs on it. I was like, yes, let's go.
What? Check mark. We got that done.
And you know what? You know, just from, you know, seeing NBA and stuff like that, you know, I thought we were going to hop in like some big SUV and we're going to go and I'm going to be treated as some luxury hotel. And, you know, little did I know that was not the case.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was fun. You put faith in humanity that things are going to work out. They worked out to there. It didn't work out how I had anticipated.
Right.
But yeah, sometimes you just got to throw caution to the wind, and if it's something you want to do, you just got to go for it. And you just got to do it. So yeah, and I did, and then I actually ended up staying around with that team for a couple weeks, and I got to go to some other clubs, and just kind of practice with some other clubs, which kind of led me to get how I got back to Europe eventually, when I was more kind of mentally prepared and understood what it took. Not that in that year that I didn't get anywhere that I wasn't mentally prepared, but you can always picture and think of something until you're actually thrown into the fire.
Right.
And then you kind of got to fend for yourself.
So you're saying that you went there, they said no to you. Did you go back home?
I went back home, went back to Minneapolis.
Okay.
After a month, a few weeks, a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what made you go back?
So I actually got a contract to go back and play. I didn't have a contract at that first time. It was more of kind of show us what you can do type of thing, and we'll see if we want you. Because I didn't really have a big name.
Nate Mohs is only 4 letters for Nate, 4, and then last name 4 letters.
Should have used my given name, Nathaniel.
Yeah, that would have gotten you somewhere. That's a big name.
Should have used Nathaniel Mohs. I probably would be a millionaire right now.
100%. That's the name of the game, you know.
So so yeah, I got back and I prepared, and I knew I could mentally prepare that I always had a vision that this is the direction I want to go. And I always knew I always had hoped I'd get another opportunity, and I always saw it in my vision that I'd have another opportunity. Um, and I wanted that opportunity to be more successful. So yeah, I kept working out. I tried to align myself with some positive people and some people that were more along my beliefs. I didn't drink a lot, never done a drug. I'm very proud of that.
Oh man, we are so different.
Never. I'm proud. Like,
I'm just kidding,
Joe. I'm proud of the fact that when I always said if I wasn't blessed athletically like maybe others, so I always had to work hard. And if I could not drink, and that would put me a step above, or not, that would put me a step above everybody else, then I was going to take it.
Hell yeah.
And if people are out partying at 10 o'clock, I'm going to be at the gym. And I was. And I, even in Minneapolis, I was at the gym at 10 o'clock, a big, beautiful gym. I had the court to myself. I had the weight room to myself. So I could do those things. And I tried to align myself with some buddies that had the same vision of, we just enjoy working out, so we're going to work out with you, and then we don't drink either, so you want to hang out with us, you can hang out with us. So I shout out to my buddy in the Twin Cities. I'm going to do another shout out.
Do it, but he has to pay us.
He's got to pay us. TP Tom Preston, the Twin Cities, same beliefs. He didn't drink. He enjoyed working out. We play basketball together. He obviously didn't want to go play professionally, but that's what I wanted to do. And we'd hung out a lot. He showed me around the Twin Cities, and a good friend of mine that I miss our workouts, miss hanging out. Yeah. So eventually, Joe, I signed with a different agent. He got me a contract to go back to Europe. So I actually went back to Europe, and then I like to think I was a little bit more successful the second time around.
Hey, try again, right? Keep going until it sticks.
That's the motto. Try again. But Joe, I always wanted to have my success was going to be on me.
Yeah.
If I wasn't good enough, I could accept that. And in my contract, I was going to act professionally, and they had it offered. They could take any opportunity they wanted to and release me. If I sucked in a game, they could release me. If they didn't like how I was behaving off the court, they could release me. And so it was on me. I wanted it to be on me. If I wasn't good enough, I could accept that.
Yeah. But
I couldn't accept if I just didn't get an opportunity, or if I got an opportunity and I blew it. Maybe messing around, maybe missing practices, maybe doing a little bit too much partying, which, when basketball is your life, you have every opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And I wanted if I was going to fail, it was going to be on me.
This is incredible to me, because what you're telling me is that you kept trying. You didn't care what the results were going to be, right? I mean, I'm a little bit, but you just wanted the opportunity, working hard to reach or find the opportunity that you are looking for, and throwing up in God's hands, whatever you want to call it, the results into God's hands of, I got the opportunity. Either I was successful, I made the team, or I didn't make the team. The only thing that you were focused on was the opportunity, and that is incredible, right? That shows how dedicated you are to being a successful man, right? So
correct. I wanted the opportunity. I knew that with hard work, some dedication, some sacrifice, if you believe, you can kind of hopefully get there. And I too many times now, especially where we are now, it's there's so many excuses.
Oh yeah, 100%.
My excuse was going to be I wasn't good enough, and I can live with that. What I can't live with is if something wasn't out of my control and I blew it.
Yes.
If I blew it because of something I did, I don't know if I would be able to live with how it turned out.
You are describing this one prayer that I say. I'm an alcoholic, so I go to AA, and so obviously we say the Serenity Prayer, right?
Yes.
Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And it sounds like you knew you had the wisdom to know the difference, which you knew what you could change, what you could alter, what you could do to do whatever you could do, and then you left it up to whatever power that is that you believe in. So do you consider yourself successful today?
There's many different levels of success in my eyes, in my viewpoint. So this is only my opinion. You could look at it. I wasn't a Division I athlete. Does that mean I was not successful? No, I didn't get to play I envisioned myself playing professionally until I was close to 40. Did that happen? No. Mm-hmm. Does that mean I was not successful? Not necessarily. My brother got a job, my middle brother, who's a teacher in Nebraska, got a job right out of college. Mm. 23, 24 years old. He's a high school basketball coach. They've won 2 state championships back to back. Very successful coach, very successful teacher, very successful family guy. Love him. Awesome. I took a different path. I didn't get a job right out of college. I had a different view of what I wanted in my life to do. I didn't get a job until I didn't get my first teaching job until I was 31 years old. It kind of put me behind the 8 ball in terms of looking down the road to retirement and how much money I have, when I'm going to be able to retire. But I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change my path. I wouldn't change my journey to get to where I am, with the successes and the failures and the opportunities and the travel and the friendships and the relationships. It all took a lot of sacrifice, time, effort, and energy. And, if I would have got a job right out of college, a teaching job, I'd have over 20 years teaching experience, and I could be looking forward to maybe retiring at 55 years old or something like that. But that's not my case. Does that make me not successful? No. I've loved my life. I've loved the journey. Hasn't always been simple, easy, fun. It's been a lot of sacrifice and hard work and dedication, and a lot of no's in there, a lot of yeses. A lot of different things have happened. It's just been a path that I don't think a lot of people would take, or maybe they would take, but maybe they just didn't have an opportunity. So I'm very thankful, and I have a lot of gratitude for what I've done in my life and where I'm at right now.
I 100% agree. I mean, I look at you and knowing all this now about you, you're, man, it makes me like you a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? This guy's dedicated to being successful. I love it. So you've discussed a lot about some of the good choices that you've had in your life. Now, what are some of the bad choices, or the choices that you wish that you did not do? I know that the argument there is, I wouldn't change anything, or because I wouldn't be where I am today. But are there things in your life where you're like, man, I wish I didn't do that? Like for me, I wish I didn't try meth. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I understand what you're saying. I don't know from experience.
Right. Which hey, there's always time. You know what I'm saying? Oh man.
Yeah. I can get into some bad decisions. That might be another story, or for those viewers, if you see me out and about. I don't know if I want any of these on the air.
Okay.
But
that means this is really bad. There's something with the law,
Nothing with the law. Nothing with the law.
Do you work for the government? Is that why you can't tell us?
I'm a double agent.
Oh, there he is. He's disguised as a gym teacher, working for the government. He's trying to infiltrate the lair. You know what I'm saying?
If you see me out and about, you can ask. I don't know if I want any of them on air, some of the stuff I've done or did, or not against the law or anything, just maybe not the best choices.
Okay.
I always had, like I said, I always had a vision. So it's nothing horrible. I always had a vision of the opportunities I want to have. And if I went down a wrong path, I probably wouldn't have those opportunities. So maybe more so with my family, was some harder decisions that have made maybe revolved around work. You know, when Heather was when our first daughter was, or our only daughter, Jordan, was born, and Heather was a stay-at-home mom. We could not afford a lot of care for Heather to get a job, so it just benefited her and us to stay home. But she you know, stay at home. You're with the child 24/7. I'm going to teach. Teachers don't make a lot of money.
Right.
Wish that would change.
Yeah.
And so she's with our daughter, you know, day after day, week after week, month after month. I go to work, I come home, and then work in another job. There are times when I come home and I'm home and I get to see Heather and I get to see my daughter for a half hour, and then I got to go out again, and I come back and they're in bed. So, you know, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and you got to sacrifice maybe some quality family time with your significant other or a child to try and make ends meet. And I know there were times when I know Heather needed me there and I wasn't. My daughter would need me there because I'd leave and she'd cry.
Yeah.
It breaks your heart.
Absolutely.
But you know, through the trials, we get to where we are today. You know, we're very lucky. We have 2 incomes now. We own a home. You know, we just bought a house.
Hey, congratulations.
That's
tough today.
You know, people, Joe, pursuing my dream, and when I pursue it put me behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
Child wise, you know, I didn't have my first kid was born when I was 36 years old.
Yeah.
Financially, yes, I made good money playing over there, but you know, it was in cash.
Yeah.
And I come home with cash, and then it's easy to spend.
Yep. I know exactly what you are talking about.
And if you're not smart, you can make you know, and we're not talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're talking thousands.
Yeah.
And even you come home with that in your pocket, and you know, it's easy to spend, and then pretty soon really it's gone, and holy cow, and that's my income, and then my next contract doesn't start until this date. So you know, there's some things, decisions that I would go back and I would maybe just do maybe a little differently. And again, some decisions where we can talk about off there.
Yeah. So you know, through all these struggles, I mean, it sounds like you've just done a fantastic job in your life. Like, you know, you went for your dream. Yeah, that may have, you know, set you back a little bit in life, but at the same time, you conquered your dream, and you are still doing the deal of creating a family. I'm sure that was one of your goals, probably. Well, I mean, was it one of your goals in your childhood?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
of course. I always wanted to have kids. I always wanted to be, you know, like I said at the beginning, my dad was my idol and my role model and my hero, and I always wanted to be what my dad was to me for my kid or kids.
Right.
And it gets to a point where, you know, you hope that your path that you took or want to take, you hope that you can still come back and have a family and have children, and you hope that your dreams and desires don't take you out from having that. Right. So,
oh man, that's incredible. I mean, because what you did was you did your dream, and now you're like, okay, I did it. I am here now to be a productive member of society, producing children, right? So no, I commend you for that. That's incredible. So have you ever felt like giving up during these whole times of, you know, trying to become a basketball player, professional basketball player, trying to do this, trying to do that. Have you ever felt like this is so overwhelming, I feel like giving up?
Yeah, I maybe maybe in a different form. So my college coach, Tom Crop, he got drafted into the NBA, got drafted into the NFL, highly respected. He is the god of Nebraska in terms of lots of different coaching, athletically wise. Tom Crop would always used to say, if you don't get butterflies, if it doesn't mean something to you, if you step on a court, whether there's 10 people there or 10,000 people there watching, if you don't get butterflies, if it doesn't mean something to you, might be time to hang it up and look for something else to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in Europe, I got to that point. Like, I just wasn't, I kind of wanted, I battled myself. I wanted to do some different things. I wanted to experience different things. I wanted to get on with my life. I wanted to make more money. And it just wasn't happening. And I started to kind of feel it wasn't exciting anymore.
Yeah.
I wasn't waking up excited to go to practice. I wasn't waking up excited for games. It got to be more, being a professional basketball player became more of a job.
Yeah, I hear that
than a
sometimes.
dream.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to sit and look at myself in the mirror and say, Nate, what road do you want to go down now if this isn't where you wanted to be? Or if doing this, if your dream that you've worked so hard for, if you can't, or you don't want to go down that path anymore, what path are you going to go down? And so, yeah, I was stuck, kind of trying to decide what I wanted to do, how I was going to do it. So giving up, it was more of a change of a mindset.
Okay.
It was more of a different, I wanted to do something else. Looking back, if before I even did this, of course, there were days I just wanted to give up and just maybe not. Oh, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to be a night owl, and go to the gym at 10 o'clock. I don't want to do this because, what's the point if in the back of my head and how my vision of this opportunity is going to come, I just don't know when, of, well, what if this opportunity doesn't come?
Yeah.
And then it's just, I tried to create a different mindset. So rather than giving up, I tried to create a different mindset of, what can I do next? Where can I go next? What can I do with my life next?
Wow. That is, no, because there's a lot of times when, people just, I give up, I'm done with life, blah, 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 blah. Well, what you're telling me is that changing your mind can help with that feeling of wanting to give up, right? Because there's plenty of people out there that have just dug themselves into a hole and they can't get out of it. But if they change that mindset, right, the mindset of giving up into doing something different, that might just change their life 180 degrees, right? So that's fantastic. So would you call yourself a spiritual or a religious person?
Yeah. I grew up Catholic. That was kind of when my parents forced myself and my brothers to go to church. They woke us up on Sunday mornings and kind of dragged us to church.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand what it was. I just knew I had to go there. But now I'm trying to get my family back into it. I always knew I always knew God had maybe a different road for me, or maybe I just looked at it that way. That God maybe had a little different path for me, or he was going to present some opportunities for me, and to see if I was going to take the bait, I guess, of maybe pursuing what I had always dreamed of pursuing. Right now we're trying to get our kids more religious. We found a pretty cool church that we've been going to. So as far as being a religious person, we're getting there. I was kind of ish. Not that I've always believed there's a higher power, always believed in God. And I continue that. But in terms of like going to church and making that a priority, we're starting to get back into the flow of that.
Right. No, I mean, that's very common, right? So we went to church, growing up, Catholic as well. And then I stopped for a while. I was in college and drinking a lot and all that stuff. And then, after I was started going, went to rehab and all that stuff, I started going to, churches again. And today I try to get my family into that spiritual realm as well with I do the Catholic thing. So no, that's fantastic. So do you believe that your faith has made it easier for you to get through the struggles in your life? Did you rely upon God? Did you actually think, whatever happens, God, God's got my back, kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I always had again, this is just a lot of it is a mindset, and I would just kind of always thought that I was kind of, maybe, again, going back to what I said a minute ago or so, I always thought that God was going to maybe send some weird way to just send some signals or some opportunities for me, and to see if I was going to take advantage of them in different ways, whether they were good or bad. And I kind of, with the people I started hanging around with in Minneapolis, I could have went down maybe a different path, but I didn't. And I always believed that I went down a path that maybe he laid in front of me to kind of see if I would take it. And I took that path, and maybe that led to me being a little bit more successful. Maybe that led to me where I'm at now. And maybe it didn't. Maybe that's just all in my mind. I don't know. But I've always believed that that there was something different in store in how I wanted to live my life.
Fantastic. So getting more into today, because currently you are a successful man, taking care of your family, getting your kids into raising your kids into sports and all that good stuff. So do you have a morning routine, and do you incorporate that with your family?
Not necessarily a morning routine. Thank you again, Joe, for saying I'm a successful man.
I gotta keep reminding you, because people forget easily,
So something that people might take for granted is, before we bought our house, we rented our house,
okay.
and that was the first actual house that, having a family, since I had a family, that I lived in, with my own family. We lived in apartments, we lived in income-based housing. And then we were able to move into a house, and to pull your car in the dead of winter, to pull your car into a garage, and to go from the garage to your house. My family didn't have that. My kids never had their own room from living in our apartments, and obviously the income-based housing. They always had to share. My kids now have their own room. We have a little tiny yard they can go play in. Would love to have a bigger yard.
Yeah.
Love to have more land.
Who doesn't, right?
We have a 2-car garage. We can park both our cars in there. We can go into our house from the garage. Joe, that I didn't have that until I was in my 40s.
That's amazing.
So yeah. I'm very thankful, and I feel very blessed that I have that right now. I didn't know if that was going to happen with how expensive things are. So our morning ritual, our morning routine, I don't think we have one. It's again, trying to drag my kids out of bed for school.
Yeah, yeah.
I try and my night owl ways have still carried over. I still am a night owl.
Oh man.
Except I'm not working out at night.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching movies and just
You're vegging out.
Just vegging out, just kind of zoning out.
Yeah. Because you've accomplished so much in your life. Like I'm not even joking. How many people can say that they were a professional basketball player getting paid to dribble a ball? That's incredible. You know? I mean, and now you have a beautiful family, a home, you know, and now that I know that you're a night owl, that the next question actually is, do you have a nightly routine?
A nightly routine, my nightly routine, and this is something my parents did for me. They always made sure my nightly routine is just to tell my kids that I love them. That's what both my parents did. They growing up, they would tuck us into bed. And then they would make sure that regardless of what happened that day, the sun's going to come up the next day. My parents are going to be there. And they would just tell me they love them. So that's what I do. That's my nightly routine with my kids. I put them to bed, and I tell them I love them, and that hopefully James goes to bed a lot smoother than Jordan does. But, he's out pretty quick, but Jordan likes to prolong going to sleep.
Yeah.
So sometimes she'll come up, and so we'll tell her stories or read to her again.
Yeah.
And again. So yeah, but that's kind of our nightly routine. Nothing too intense, nothing too strict. Just let the kids know that we love them, and that we'll be getting them up in the morning for school.
Did you name Jordan after Michael Jordan? Basketball player. I have a daughter named Jordan. Of course, my favorite player was Jordan when I was growing up.
Actually, my favorite player was Reggie Miller.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we name we took the name Jordan just because he's everybody's icon.
Yep.
He's everybody's kind of. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, there's plenty of other good basketball players, but he kind of took basketball to another level. You know, in the popularity and in the athleticism, and he just kind of his will. You know, whether you support how he handled his business or not, his will to kind of, and his competitiveness, his will to win, was on a whole nother level.
Who's better, Michael Jordan or LeBron James?
Michael Jordan.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Because I cannot. Oh man, I 100% agree. So the last question. I mean, hopefully LeBron doesn't listen to this. You know.
much respect to LeBron.
Yeah, he's good.
He's done it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And he continues to do it at a high level. He's so high statistically in all these categories. Great player. My personal opinion, nobody is better than Michael Jordan.
Than the great one.
Yeah.
So I do have one more question for you. So what? Let me see here. Wow. Okay. What advice can you give to our audience to inspire them to power through their struggles and keep fighting for what they want?
Going back to kind of what I've talked on this whole time is mindset. Change a mindset. Instead of saying I can't, say I can, or this is what I'm going to do to get to that point. I'm a firm believer in a strong and positive mindset, and that's what I try to bring to my teaching every day. I'm lucky I get to see, I get to teach the whole school, not every day, but I get to teach close to 500 kids on a weekly basis or monthly basis now. And I just try and make sure that I'm positive and I'm making things fun. Yeah. My worst thing is hearing kids saying PE is not fun, or parents saying, oh, when I was doing PE, my PE teacher was bad and we did this and I hated it. That's the worst thing. Kids, especially elementary age, they just want to have fun. They want to come in and they want to play and they want to be social. And I try and just provide a fun atmosphere for everybody to be social and then learn on top of that. And I don't think I was always like that, but I changed my mindset to get there. So
No, that's incredible because everyone remembers the gym teacher. You know, you're gonna have thousands and thousands of kids, you know, growing up and like Mr. Mohs was my gym teacher.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's great about being a teacher, man. You're in the minds of everybody because I still have, you know, I still love my choir teacher, Miss Lacalandra. She was fantastic. I actually have her phone number memorized.
Oh wow.
And it's been, you know, 15 years. Well, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I love your story. You showed a lot of accomplishment. You showed how to get there, and you showed the audience how just changing a mindset can benefit you tremendously, right? It's just a decision. And so thank you so much for coming on. And yeah, I'll see you at the next PTA meeting. Man, Nate is a really good guy, and that was a really good interview. I recorded the introduction a couple weeks ago, so now it's been man, almost 5 months, or actually no, it's been 4 months since almost 5 months since I interviewed Nate. You know, I saw him the other day. Great guy. I mean, everyone that I've interviewed is fantastic this year. I mean, we had Jerry Beard. Man, I wish I had the list, and I'm having a hard time remembering. But each person that I've interviewed really inspired me, helped me through the year, a difficult year at that. I know things will get better because life is life, right? But you know what's awesome is the fact that tomorrow is Thanksgiving. We are going to have a feast. Oh my goodness. I love the holidays because everybody, well, for one thing, you know, in business, I do better, but in life, I just get happier. Spread some cheer, everybody. Just spread the cheer, smile at people. I love smiling at people. Smiling is my favorite, right? And when you do that, it affects other people in a positive way, and it gives and you provide everyone else with a positive impact. Full circle, bada bing. Anyway, I hope everyone has a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy holidays to all who celebrate the holidays. And I shall see you all and speak to you all next year. Happy New Year. And may God bless you all.